Can I work during nursing school? How many hours is actually realistic? How hard is it really going to be? What type of job should I be looking for? Yo, welcome back to the Grappling Nurse, and I'm Samson, and these are the questions we're going to be answering today. Talking about nursing school and working while you're going through the program. Now, you're probably wondering what credentials I have to be able to talk about this. Well, let's start with first, I'm in nursing school, and two, I work two jobs, okay? So that gives me a pretty good idea of what it's like to have to work while in nursing school. I'm going to preface this by helping everyone's nerves. Yes, you can definitely work while in nursing school. Okay, so for those of you who are thinking about going to nursing school or thinking about getting a job, you're already in nursing school. It's very possible. Okay, some of us are going into nursing school later, maybe mid 30s, 40s, whatever it be. You have families like me. I'm the main financial provider for the family. I have obligations, responsibilities. I can't just stop paying bills, just probably like you, right? So dropping everything and just going to school is not an option, okay? Or maybe you just want to have a little bit of extra cash. It's not worth being broke for 2, 3, 4 years, however long. It's very possible. So before we get into the things like how hard it is and all those things, I have to start with this. It depends on the type of job that you have. Like I said, I have two jobs, but I would never be able to have two jobs if I had mandated schedules. If my schedule was picked for me and I had to be here from this time to this time, and I couldn't do personal things during those times, like say I worked at Walmart or something, right? If I had to work a 9 to 5 at Walmart, I probably would have just the one job and things would be a lot harder. So lucky for me, on both my jobs, I pick my schedules, right? I pick my hours so I can work around what needs to be done and I can study and do the things and homework when I need to do them. Now, some of my schedules set, like when I go into the gym and I train people for those 3 hours of the 3 days that I do that, that's obviously set, but it's just 3 hours and I made those hours, right? Um, I'm able to switch those around as I need and place them in the day when I want them to be. So that brings me to the point of if you don't have a job and you're looking for one, or what kind of jobs are the best to have during nursing school, it's going to be ones where you pick your own hours or ones where you're able to do work while you're working, right? So I'll give you some examples. Uber is a very good one, right? Uber Eats is a very good one. And I'm just giving you baseline jobs, right? Some of you guys have careers where you're the bosses, you're entrepreneurs. Those are even better. But these are the ones you can go out and get now, right? Uber Eats, delivery service jobs. And the reason why is you can clock in, clock out when you want. And sometimes in between shifts, you'll be able to open up a book. You'll be able to open up this or that. You might even be able to listen to audio while you're doing those things, right? Another one is people ask me about like CNA jobs and stuff like that. And I would say it's good to get into the door of the hospital if you're trying to get a job, but it's not going to be the best if you're trying to work and do very well in nursing school. I would more so suggest a job like SLS or ILS, which is caregiving, pretty much in-home support services, right? Whether it be like in-home care for elderly person or in-home care for people that with developmental disabilities. That way you're there, you're helping them, but there's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of time for you to open your books, do your homework, open your computer, maybe do some reading if you actually get the books, which you should already know from my past videos. If you don't, you probably don't have them, all right? Um, Jobs like that where you're able to do your work on the clock. You're getting paid pretty much to do your work. Now I'm saying doesn't mean don't do your work, but a lot of jobs have downtime. So you either find a job like that or find a job that is you make your own hours, right? If you can't do that, definitely don't have two jobs. I would say many realistic hours for somebody that's working a set schedule, I would say between 20 and 30 hours. 40 is very doable, but you're gonna have to give up some stuff for it, right? And you're just gonna have to you're gonna have to buckle down for the next 2 years, however long your program is, and just realize that it's gonna be work, sleep, and school, nothing else, okay? I would say 10 to 20 though is a sweet spot. If like say you're gonna have a CNA job, right? 10 to 20 is a sweet spot. I don't believe that. And now there's kids in my cohort that study all day, every day. I'm not one of them. Okay, so I study maybe a few hours for an exam, like maybe 5 or 6 hours for an exam. and I do pretty well. But if you wanted to get maybe an hour of studying in every night, right, which is a smart thing to do, 20 hours, 30 hours, right? You get home, you have a little bit of time to unwind, and then you hit a couple hours of studying. You just got to take into account that you got clinicals, right? Some of it, like me, I have 2 clinicals a week, 10-hour shifts, and then you still have lectures. One of them is like 3 to 5 hours, and the other one's 3 hours. So you got to account for those things. So make sure you have a job that's going to be willing to work with you on those hours, right? If you can't make your own. Let me see. Oh, I had a brain fart. I'm so sorry. That's what happens when you work and you go to nursing school. You forget what you want to say, right? How hard is it realistically? That was the next point. It depends on who you are. So this goes into like who should and should not do this, right? If you are really efficient in the way you do things like studying and picking up information, then you have no problem. Like me, I'm really efficient. I like to grab what I'm gonna do, make my quick study guide, and then I can just read it kind of, and then I'm good. And then I just take the day before, or the day before, the day before, I put in NCLEX style exams. Like I told you, I can make a video on how I study for exams, and then I just go like that, right? I don't need to spend hours and hours a day reading lecture slides and reading content and searching this and searching that. But some people do, and they're better off for it, right? Some people, it makes them feel good. It takes the anxiety away. If the kind of person you are, then working is probably not a good idea. If you have a problem with time management, probably not a good idea to work. If you don't need to work, I would say don't do it, right? If you don't need to work, and say you don't need to work and you still pick up information fast. Just pick up the information fast, study when you need to study, and then relax. Enjoy your time. Go out, hang out with friends, do things that's gonna lower that stress level. Because remember, nursing school is kind of stressful. So if you gotta work, then go to nursing school, it's stressful. But if you don't have to work, don't do it, right? Freaking live off your parents, stay at home, eat their food, and relax, okay? That's okay while you're in nursing school. But if you are, make sure you have good time management skills. Make sure you're disciplined, you're structured. You know that, hey, when I get home, I'm taking this 2-hour block and I'm going to study. And just keep it like that. It doesn't matter if you're tired. Doesn't matter if you're worn out. You got to do it. Because that's where I see a lot of people fall. Is when they're working, they'll get home, they'll be tired, they'll be dead, and they'll just forget to do their homework or forget to do their studying or forget to do their pathway sheet, whatever. And that's where you start running into problems, okay? Now, how hard is it really? I mean, it's not hard. I know we just talked about that. It's not hard if you're able to do those things that I just said, okay? But what suffers when you are working? So all these things that I'm saying too, if you can make your own schedule and do your work while you're on the clock, none of this applies, right? If you can do that, if you can find that thing, it's super easy, okay? I'm telling you. I don't think that anything in my life is suffering any more than what it would if I didn't work, because I make my own hours, right? So it's very comfortable for me. I work, I go to school, I still have time to go train all the time. As you can see, I got the black guy. I still have time to hang out with my wife. I still have time to, have a drink once a week, whatever, right? But if I had to clock in, it wouldn't be like that. So I'm just gonna base this on, like, if you had to clock in, what would suffer? Obviously sleep, right? I'm a big advocate of 8 hours of sleep minimum. But if I had to clock in, say I had to clock in at 9 to 5, I would get home probably by 6, eat dinner, and study, right? But I want to train. I want to do things like that. I probably wouldn't go to sleep as early as I need to. I would still say I get at least 6, right? But things like that will definitely suffer. And as you just heard that schedule, there was no social life in there. There was no friends. There was no hanging out. There was no wife time. There was none of that. So your social life is going to suffer a little bit. It's like I said in the beginning of the video, if you have to clock in and do a 9 to 5, just be prepared to have that be your life for the next 2 years or however long your program is. You're going to work, you're going to do school, you're going to sleep, all right? And if you want to train, which I do suggest we all do some type of training, some type of exercise for your mental, okay? It's important. And it goes into my next thing is your mental bandwidth. It starts getting hard. You might start getting beaten down. You don't have no other avenues to really let go. So my advice to that would be Try to find a job that allows you to kind of let go while you're at the job. Find a job that you're working with cool people. Find a job where it feels like you're going in and you get to unwind and have a little bit of fun. Like when I was younger, I worked at Blockbuster, and that's showing my age, but I really liked working there. I thought it was fun. When I went there, it was like going out to hang out with friends, and we were putting movies on the screen while we're working, and it was a job that I felt like, hey, I don't mind being here, okay? Try to do something like that. But overall, it's not hard. You can do it. Working is very, very doable in nursing school. The number one point of this video is that if you're gonna work, try to find a job that you can pick your own hours or do the work, do schoolwork while you're on the clock. All right, that's a big thing, but definitely doable. All right, and this is a quick, easy, short video. All right, but I had someone ask me, how it is working, so I figured I answer it for you. For me, it's not that bad, right? It's very doable. Hey, make sure you subscribe, like. If you have more questions, leave me a comment down below. All right, this is the Grappling Nurse.